Hello, Norwood superstars. Let's get started with the Norwood News newsletter edition for today, Friday, April 2nd, 2021. So remember, we have changed our phone systems. So at the top here, we're going to keep this up for a while. Our new front office number is going to be 443-809-7055. And our fax number, if you need to say fax over documents, which is very important for registration, 443-809-7057. We hope you guys have been enjoying your spring break. Prior to coming back, let's just go over these important upcoming dates. Monday, April 5th is the last day of spring break, so schools and offices will remain closed that day. But Tuesday, April 6th is the return of our Norwood Bedtime Stories. We'll talk about that in a moment. Wednesday, April 7th is a live classes day. It's not an asynchronous day where they learn on their own virtually. No. Students in Cohort A who have been coming to school Mondays and Tuesdays need to come to school that day as if it were Monday. And then all the rest, students who are virtual, just follow their Monday schedule that day. It's a short week, so that's what happens with Wednesdays. Now, Tuesday, April 13th is another installment of our Norwood Bedtime Stories. And then Wednesday, April 14th is an asynchronous learning day for students. So that day, they do just stay at home, learn from home at their own pace by logging into Schoology and getting their work done individually. Remember our school hours, 8:20 a.m. for those arriving in person. No sooner than that because there's no adult supervision before 8:20. 8:30 a.m. you can log in virtually, and class begins at 8:35 officially for all. And then 3:05 p.m. is dismissal for everyone. There's no more early dismissal for in-person students. That finished a while ago. Now, registration for this upcoming year. Can you believe that we are already at our registration time for the 2021 to 2022 school year? So if you need to register a pre-K or a kindergarten student for that next year starting in the fall, please call the school. We've got Ms. Sue and Ms. Kayla at the front office who are ready to help you. They've been putting together the documents. We are still processing them and getting them together, but we are at that point. We'll be ready. So you can reach them at 443-809-7055, and the flyer here will tell you not only that information, how to call and reach the school, but it gives you the cutoffs for what grades they qualify when they turn either 4 or 5 for pre-K and for kindergarten by September 1st of that year. So keep that in mind. Now, this edition of the Social Worker Corner with Miss Julian is going to focus on bedtime and sleep, which is really important because there's been a lot of studies to show that when children and adults have regular good sleep, it improves both their mental and physical health, things like attention, behavior, learning capacity, and memory. All that can improve dramatically compared to when you do not get regular, consistent sleep. So it's very important. I know with daylight savings, it seems like everything's fantastic as we're getting more light and the temperature's warming, but maybe sleep has been disrupted. So she's offering some suggestions on what you can do, and these are just guides. If you do not follow them or they do not work for your children, do not be tied to them. We just want to give you some tips in case you're having a little bit of difficulty. Because we know that some kids, they struggle to fall asleep. They struggle staying asleep and maybe get up multiple times. So we want to establish some routines. And I know that our word, we keep saying it over and over again, routines. We talked about it when the children transitioned over to hybrid learning from all being virtual. But here are some things she says. First, try dimming the lights or reducing the lights that are in the house if possible. Stop using electronics for at least 1 full hour prior to bed. And then limit the caffeine use close to bedtime, like sugary drinks or caffeine. And then taking a warm bath, doing a quiet family activity together, whether it be meditation, prayer, or just talking over about the day, reading a book, or you can try putting on some calming music. Now, if nothing works, again, don't feel like a failure. We know that this can vary from child to child, but make sure you're consistent and you're firm as you can, because they're going to push your limits, especially when they're younger. They're going to see what they can get away with. So we believe in you. We know you can do it. But if you continue to have difficulties despite all this, it might be time to speak to your child's pediatrician to see if there's any other reasons that you may not be aware of as to why they're having such difficulty. Now, this is a really important graphic here because this tells you the amount of sleep that on average kids are supposed to have depending on their age range. So this could be quite eye-opening depending on if you are very far off from this, that might be something you want to keep in mind. And if you need any help with this or you just want to ask some more questions about it, you can always reach out to Miss Julian directly yourself. Now, we want to talk about the return of Norwood Bedtime Stories. We're glad to have everybody back and ready to join us. We've been having questions from students themselves about this. So it's going to be Tuesday, April 6th, 2021 at 7 p.m. like before. This is, if you haven't joined us, it's where several of Norwood staff get together to read really engaging stories. The next readers are going to be Miss Spencer, Miss O'Hare, and Miss Harrison. And as always, connect to Google Meet using the code Norwood Stories. Now, the daily health screening forms, remember when your child first returned to hybrid, they had to fill this out, and we kept hitting this point home. Now, we're in a new month. We're in April. So remember, every month thereafter, at the beginning of the month, you're going to have to fill this out all over again. Now, it's not that difficult. It's not that time-consuming. Here's what it looks like. So you can click on the link that we have here, and we're going to include it in the description of this video, and you'll be able to download this and keep an extra copy if you need the questions, for example. Just sign it, date it, and then fill out the emergency contacts. And if everything's the same, you can still fill out the emergency contacts. We need you to fill it out, even if it's exactly the same as before. Just, we need to have that most up-to-date information and to verify that. So please take a moment to do that. It's going to come home with the students in their take-home folder, and you can just put it back to send back to school to take with them. Or if you want, you can drop it off as well. And Nurse Debbie just wants to remind you that if there's any changes at all to your medical information, whether it be your doctor, whether it be your health insurance, if you have medication that now has to be disseminated to the child, please reach out to her. And through the new info system, you can reach out to her directly now. Instead of calling the front office and asking for her, you can call her at 443-809-6029, and her email is included here as well. And also, she can be a very useful resource if by chance, let's say you need to find a clinic to do vaccinations at low cost. She's very helpful for that. If you're registering a new child or if you have vaccinations that you need to finish. And also, if you need health insurance, she can help you find some that's very affordable or close to free, depending on your situation. So reach out to her. And as always, just make sure that when you're registering your child, you're doing all those forms, filling everything out, including the physical examination and then the blood lead test. That's all part of what needs to be filled out. Now, the ABC program we've talked about a little bit here and there, the Eliza Brandwine Center, it's basically caregiver child school readiness classes from ages birth to 5 years old. So that means caregiver child, both the parent or the caregiver, the guardian, comes with the child and participates. And it's to help prepare them for the different environments and situations and concepts to be discussed at school. Some children have a lot of difficulty transitioning from being at home with mom or dad, and that's very common. So if you feel that they may need a little extra help, you can look to this program to help. Now, if you don't qualify for pre-K, because they have only specific spots and it has an income eligibility requirement, then you can look to this program. It's only once a week. You know, our current class is meeting on Tuesdays virtually. You can reach out to Barbie Pullman for more information, and we've left her email here if you want to reach out to her. But again, this would be a useful thing to look into if, let's say, you want pre-K, you don't qualify pre-K. I know it's not daycare, it's not the same thing, it's not as often, but it's at least something that could help prepare your child for that environment change and that transition, which is very useful. We've kept here, lastly but not least, the Norwood reopening information. So the survey is this top link that you can click to fill out the survey if you want to send your child and you haven't yet to be part of hybrid learning, to have an in-person component. You have until May 31st to change your mind. So according to the table that you have here in the bottom, this last entry, May 7th is the very end. If you fill it out by May 7th, 5 p.m., they'll have to return to school the week of May 31st, depending on which group this cohort they're selected in. Beyond that, they have to just finish out the end of the school year virtually. But some important written resources here. Click at the top. This reopening information is going to be bulleted point summary of the different policies and changes due to, since we've reopened our doors, what you have to keep in mind due to COVID. So that's important if you need to refer back to anything. And the other link, the classroom information, is if you need to know the room number when you're picking up your child through the outside doors to the classrooms. You only have the room numbers posted for privacy and security reasons. We don't have names. So if you need to know your child's name, you'll find their room number here, as well as their Google Meet nickname and their email address if you need to reach out to them. That is it. Again, we hope you've been enjoying your spring break so far. Welcome back. And we were happy to have you here. As always, reach out to us if you need anything. And remember to keep on learning. Thank you.